Yes, check. 1 2 1 2. Vader Games in the building. You know what it is. Here we go. I'm back. 2 episodes back to back. Listen, been able to make it work within the work schedule. Kids are obviously back at school. I got a nice little pocket just before lunch. You know what I mean? So I'm here. I'm here with another episode. First things first. My peoples come first. My people, those that are here, always remembered, never forgotten. Thank you so very much. This is 115. This is 115. One question, 15 minutes. And I'm going to address a few things. And I'm going to actually do some editing over here, to be honest with you. I've had the conversation with a few, and I got to edit this. Obviously, you see there's a conversation. Hopefully, everything's coming out clearly on a microphone. There's why Glazers were better without Ineos. There's that conversation. Pep's first 8 years. That's been on there for a minute. I haven't had a need to address it. It's international break. And whenever it's international break, two things you can pretty much set your watch to, okay? One, they're going to talk FFP, talk 115 in some iteration. Two, they're going to talk about Pep, Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep's legacy. It's international break. I've had this up there for a while. There's no one. It's undeniable, right? There's no way to question Pep's first years at City to Sir Alex Ferguson's first years at United. But I'm going to go deeper than that. I'm going to go under the microscope. All right. If they want to just look at what Sir Alex Ferguson did the first 8 years in the Prem, okay, we'll have to do that. We obviously can't do the entire career. We can't just pick out sections within the amazing long career that Sir Alex Ferguson had, and then take that and want to compare that to Pep when Pep's coming into a new club and getting things established. But I got to do some editing. Why media darlings don't get the buying the league hate? And do I need to change? Those are all important conversations. Jose Mourinho, heritage about Manchester City, that's been butchered to death. That's been remixed. Where's my remix sound effect? Where is that? That's been remixed. That's been chopped up and screwed and edited. Go back and watch it in its entirety and see what Jose was talking about. That's so important, especially today, especially for my Manchester City fans, when we're thinking about how we go on to the next level of the next phase, the rebuild that's required for us to go and get dominance again. And why FSG are efficient. They're efficient owners. The FSG out all of the FSG out talk was crazy, short-sighted, not seeing the big picture, not allowing things to simmer, not allowing the kettle to boil, the pot to boil up, right? Not allowing the heat to happen. But I'm gonna have to edit these. And I'm seeing an attack that's taking place against my manager. Rivals, it's expected. It's like clockwork, international break. I'm going to have to address it because they're doing way too much. They now want to rewrite. They want to change they want to change the narrative. They want to rewrite history with what took place. Listen, you guys brought this on yourselves. Like I said, you guys have heard this. I like to chill in the cut. I'm a very usually soft-spoken person. I listen more than I speak. That's why this channel, this show is so great. It allows me to speak, but I observe, and I'm seeing things ratchet up. I'm seeing the efforts. I'm seeing the attempts now to pull down, to take, to diminish, to kind of go after Pep, my manager. And I'm going to have to address it. You don't need to take down Pep to still have your vision or your image of Sir Alex Ferguson. They can live separately. But I'm going to have to address it. You guys keep this up. I'm going to tell you this. Now, what I like to do every show first, I gotta acknowledge, I gotta shout out, I gotta give love to the very first person in the comments to be like, Vader, I mess with you. I'm here. Good looking out. I dropped that like button. I dropped the comment. Share it if you can. But today, the very first in the building, I gotta give it up to Paul is in the building. Big up, big man. Listen, good looking out. Thank you so much. Why did I get a notification here? I need to address Pep's inability to win when he does not have the best team. So for that to be said, Paul, maybe I'll add that to the comments. I mean, to the topics. But if I'm hearing this correctly, Pep winning the league, the 6 that he's won, the only reason why he's won the league is because those 6 years he's had the better team. So he's had the better team when the likes of shout out to Terry over at the Football Terrace, who had Arsenal as favorites, right? Telling us that they were scary, right? That prediction was to predict a team that wasn't better than City to win the league. Shout out to, he goes by the name of Don Hussam. I don't know who appointed him Don, but Don Hussam, who last season and the season before having Arsenal winning the league. Are these football-minded people picking underdogs to win the league? Am I to believe that City Pep won these 6 because he had the best team the entire time? And when we want to look at having the best team the entire time, did we have the best team when we had the 4-peat? And how drastically we fell off the following year? Pep buys stars. That's a lie. He does not have a good record of developing players with potential into stars. Pep buys stars. Are you talking about Pep's entire career, or are you talking about Manchester City? And I don't know any manager that doesn't buy stars. I don't know anyone that had big ratings and saying that they were a star with regards to our signings from when he first joined us to where we ended up. Were they saying that? Was it talk that Ederson was a star? Was that a talk? Was there talk that Bernardo Silva was a star? Did he cook the season before he came over? Yeah, but was it consistent in terms of this is a star? Was there talk about a star being that guy? And don't get me wrong, the season that they are before coming over, yes, they have a good season. That's part of why they end up being transferred. But was there star talk with regards to Ruben Diaz? Was there star talk? He came over here, played exceptionally well. Was there star talk when we were able to Pep, I should say. Pep turned a star. As much as you guys want to hate on it, Pep turned he's no longer a star boy. He's evolved to that. You don't become player of the year and still be called a boy. Foden, was he not developed? Was Foden not developed? So we'll have that conversation. I'm cool with it. I want to put the microscope. I want to put the microscope over Sir Alex Ferguson, because I'll be honest with you. I don't think anyone's done it. I think everyone's been pretty lax. You know what? What's the point of the conversation? You don't want to tear down heroes, but the way they're going after Pep, yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to now do the micro. You're gonna look, and this is great. This is great. Recently, shout out to my man Staffy. He wanted to let me know that he dunked on Pep. Pep had a disastrous season to his standards and finished 3rd. Pep finished third in a league that has outspent the rest of Europe, right? So when they want to talk about eras, and that's why I don't want to do the era talk. It's different times, different judgment. They were great for then, they are great for now. Let's not do the whole comparison. But if you're then going to do the money talk, the who you acquired, the level of competition, the level of quality, we'll do that. And it's not a good look. I'm going to warn you right now. It's not a good look. It's in favor of my guy if we're going to do that. Kelster in the building. She goes, Big Up Vader. So glad you're back. I'm back. I'm getting, let me get sharp again. Let me get clean with my video, my show transitions and everything like that. And then panel, we back at it. We're going to deal with all of these rivals. We're going to deal with some of these internal fans as well. But shout out AJ in the building. I see you. Good looking out. Don C. Yeah, you in the mix. Now, Don C, we'll have to talk off camera. Because as much as I dislike your club, I know as much as you dislike your manager, we've got common enemies that we need to get on the same page for. That's all I'm going to say. We have some common enemies, and maybe it's a temporary. I'm going to show my geekdom. I'm going to show my nerddom, my nerdiness. If any of you have played Risk, Don C, we temporarily need to have a ceasefire. We need to have a truce, a treaty with regards to how we combat because there's another enemy out there. And all I'm going to say is, let me just say this. We need a concerted, concentrated effort, because there's Invincibles on the line. There's Centurions on the line. There's back-to-back Prems on the line. And what I talked about on my previous show, there's a three-peat and Treble on the line. We need to be on the same page here. We need to be focused on how we are going to take down this common enemy. That's all I'm going to say. AJ, I see you in the building. Don C, good looking. Paul, I see you. Listen, AJ goes on to say, look, Vader, you can have Arteta very soon, because we will be able after we lose to. Nah, stop. Let's not do that. Paul goes, it's hard to compare eras. 100%. I would actually say within outside of a decade plus, 2 decades, you can't do it. You really can't do it. So if you want to talk about the start of the Prem 1992, and then you want to talk about Pep's arrival, we're going from 92, you got the 2000s, you got the 2010s, and then you got the 2016, 2017. Like the time is so different. Things change, right? And I don't even want to talk about FFP and PSR and all of that nonsense. Different eras. The comparisons, you know what? It's international break. Like I said. What are we going to talk about? I'm bored. You know what? Let's talk about FFP. Let's talk about the 115. You know what? Let's get that out there. Let's talk about leaked emails and have that conversation over again. You know what? Let's also talk about Pep. And I get it from United fans. United fans need to protect their boy. You need to protect Sir Alex. The only reason why Pep is in their mouths is because no other manager challenges Sir Alex Ferguson. So again, City fans, take pride in that. Have some pride in that. They're talking about Pep because he's that close, or he's exceeded him, or he's had a better 8 years than the man that they're holding up to. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Even with Alexander Isak, won't go into AJ with all the spending record, broken 2 transfer records on top of a club that just won the season prior. You don't think they'll go and maybe they do, maybe they don't do it this year. I'm just saying, something to worry about. Something to worry about. Don C. We need to show wait, Vader, we need to show myself, bro. Don C, listen. I'm thinking we need to flex on these guys out here. I see you doing your shows with the, with the tank top, the muscle shirt on. We need to flex on these cats in some way. Let me think of a show. It's also timing. I got to think of the timing, but we do need to address some things. I agree with you. There needs to be more. You need to be represented more in terms of like your brand and what we can talk about. I like our back and forth 100%. AJ or Dancy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. True. Let's work. I hear you, man. I hear you. Vader, actually, I need to ask you something. Do you support Manchester City ladies as well? Now, I'll be honest with you. I got City Plus. I subscribe. I check out as much content as I can. Do I sit down and watch games? No, but I do fall back. I do lean on Shades of Blue. Go and subscribe. Those guys cover the women's game a lot, and even with some of their takes. So I do enjoy their content. Obviously, social media wise, I'm making sure to big up Bunny and the team. But nah, I'll be honest with you. I don't watch enough to say that I support them. I support the ladies like that. Paul, Pest's mistake was to bring back Gundogan, keep Bernardo, and bin off KDB. I have to disagree, Paul. We got to think long term. We got to think of even how difficult the transition was when we had to say goodbye to Company. We had to say goodbye to Bernardo Silva. We had to say goodbye to Aguero. Like you had to do things in certain phases. I would agree that the return of Gundogan, his return wasn't so much of a mistake, but how much we had to lean on him, we would have been better served to have a different player. We didn't have the legs. We didn't have the energy. Gundogan kind of hampered us that way. He was an amazing captain. It was great to have him come back. But for what we needed last season, I agree. Keeping Bernardo, I don't know if you saw the quotes, but I'm gonna tell you something, Paul. If I'm going out with the boys, let's say there's a minor conversation, minor disagreement. I want to know who is standing next to me, and I want to know who is kind of like stepping back and not wanting to fight. Bernardo, Pep's quotes was, as difficult as last season was, us having those non-wins, the 1-13, as bad it was, he was a consistent, let's get better, guys. Let's improve. Accountability. This is what we need to do. He was that guy. I want pit bulls. And Bernardo, he's a fighter. He's a pit bull. And we needed that. We need that level of consistency. That's why he's got the captain armband. And KDB, I think club-wise, chemistry-wise, he's too, as great as KDB is, he would have been a crutch. He would have been leaned on too much. There would have been too much kind of deferred to him. It's painful, but sometimes you got to say bye a year early than a year too late. And I think we did it the right way with KDB. Pep will never be Pepper. I think you want to say GOAT. Pep will never be my GOAT till he wins a European trophy against Real Madrid with a Scottish club. Okay, well, AJ, you can't go back in time and do all this. Pep's never going to go to a Scottish club and do any of that. What Scottish team's going to beat Real Madrid in this era? Come on, man. I see what you're doing, AJ. Donnarumma is not good with his feet. Are we surprised he's at Man City? These are all great questions. You know what? And it leads into this show. So I wanted to talk about why City need to learn to dominate again, on and off the pitch. So really briefly, because I'm gonna respond to that Donnarumma question and further in the chat. But just let me get this off my chest, and actually let me get the timer going, so we can properly timestamp this. We're gonna do that, and let's do this. Beta games. So you look at this, right? You look at this. This is 2025. Up to date. This ain't me. This is Sky Sports. All right. This ain't me. This isn't Vader on the Excel making it all pretty. This is Sky Sports. So don't kill me with what you're seeing here. But what's clear is when you look at what was spent this summer. When I have the conversations, and taking me back a little earlier when these Sir Alex Ferguson defenders want to come off mute and want to talk about Pep this and Sir Alex Ferguson that, we'll look at this past summer and we want to look at the spending, right? Or when we go down this list, we see City spent 185. I'm gonna have fraudulent naysayers against Pep that will use the argument when they want to big up Sir Alex Ferguson. He was never the top spender. Look at all the other clubs that were ahead of him. So look, we got Newcastle. Newcastle spent more than City. Look how close Forest was to spending. Look at the mix of Sunderland. Look at the competition with regards to the spending. Look at what Chelsea spent. And Chelsea's not on there because their net spend isn't in the red, but they spent 296 this year. When you look at the level of spending, look at United as well. Look at these guys. 232 million. Liverpool, again, I'm not criticizing that they are spending. You need to spend. That's how you dominate. You need to spend. Everyone spend. And then you also look at Arsenal. Don, I see AJ, you see? Like, the spending is necessary. What I want to emphasize here is we need to get back to dominating on and off the pitch. To dominate on the pitch, you got to dominate off the pitch. Off the pitch means we got to spend like Arsenal in the summer. We got to spend like Liverpool in the summer. We got to spend like United consistently in the summer. Now, what's not here, and obviously, let's be clear, this past year, as disastrous as the year was last season, we spent in the January window. But let me remind you, because everybody wants to say, look at what City spent in January. Guys, we spent 30 mil the summer prior. We won a 4-peat. Never been done. No one's done a 4-peat. As great as Sir Alex Ferguson was, as dominant as United were, they never won a 4-peat. We won a 4-peat and spent 30 million the next year. We spent 30 million and we lost Julian Alvarez. United fans want to tell me they won the treble and they lost Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, we won a treble, followed up with a 4-peat, and let Julian Alvarez go and spent 30 million that year. We need City fans understand. The club sees these mistakes. I'm going to be honest with you. Not a cop-out, not an excuse. But I need I need the 115. I need the 130, whatever those breaches are. I need resolution. I need resolution because I know players have made decisions not to come to City because it's looming over our heads. I know that 115 also impacts partners that may want to be with the club because of the negative publicity that may be associated with it. I need the 115. I need that 130, whatever it is. I need that resolved. Come on. Let's put that aside and let's get back to cooking again. Because guys, let's look at the timeline. Let's look at dominating on and off the pitch. We were dominating on and off the pitch. The last time hear me out, and please, City fans, hear me and be patient and understand. We're gonna get back to this, but obviously we need our club to learn to get back to it. The year we went after winning the league back to back, we did a back to back. Okay, we invested in Ortega, Akanji, Julian Alvarez, Julian Alvarez, and Erling Haaland. That was one summer. What did we do the following year? We got the best Prem debut of any player ever. Haaland crushed it. I was laughing. I was all he. I was like giggling. I was like a silly kid seeing Haaland all the hat tricks he was doing. It was silly. We did that, and what hit us that year? The 115. On a year where we made history. Obviously, we did something epic. But as we were doing that, the 115 hit us, and I truly believe that 115 100% has hindered us to continue on that dominating way. How we invested, how we were able, and again, we got the 115. We then had to fight APT, associated party transactions. We can't have the partnership and sponsorship deals that we want to kind of sustain things. We need a lot of that that's off the pitch, resolved and fixed. When we get that, we know the formula to how we want to run this club. I'm happy with the transfer window to a certain degree because there's only so much you can do within a window. I know we still need a right back. I want the club, obviously, the club scouting. Listen, we've got some great players out on loan. It's not like our network, it's not like our scouting isn't a problem, right? Our scouting is great. There's a reason why Liverpool stole our scouting, right? Hacked our system to get our scouting. The reason why they wanted that whole database and get that quality is for a reason. I'm trusting that we're going to have the right players moving forward. But maybe I should rephrase this. We need the 115, the 130. We need that resolved. We need an answer. Because I think that was the first domino. That's what got things going where it couldn't remain consistent. How we dominate off the pitch, what we're doing with stadium expansion, what we're doing with the hotel entertainment center within Manchester City, absolutely brilliant. That, and in recognition, sorry, my Arsenal fans, don't mean to trigger you, but that, like you just saw, and Spurs, I know it's early, too soon, but Don Levy making sure that the business model, the revenue is still there. I like what the club's doing off the pitch. All those revenue generators, great. Let's future-proof, not necessarily having to increase ticket prices on the fan base. Let's future-proof on what the cost of a dominant squad is going to mean so that we can look at do things more on a flat line than have to have peaks and valleys. But if we can just get through this hiccup, this bump in the road, this with everything being understood, guys, I'm not making excuses. I just want to give some context. Let's resolve what's happening off the pitch. I think we've got enough. The model's great. And then let's translate that to on the pitch. Now, on the pitch, we got to get back. We got to get back to spending like this. We got to get back to spending like these guys. Look, listen. The net spend trophy. Oh, that's all great. That's all yay, haha, fun. I don't want to be in the mix with the net spend. No, I think no fan does. Every fan wants to be like, it's okay now. It's okay to spend now. The media darlings have spent with no criticism. Look. There's no the media darlings aren't getting Liverpool are buying the league hate. They're not getting they're ruining football. They're not getting the football pyramid is destroyed. They're not getting any of that. It's okay to spend. Because now what we can all do this now. We can all say 2025 Liverpool breaking the transfer record twice in one summer. It's all good now. It's all good now. So I'm very, very chill. I'm very chill. It's 3 games. I think my club will relearn. I think they'll relearn to dominate on the pitch. Will it be like before? No, it won't be like before. If anybody wants to say City and Pep aren't going to be as dominant as they were before, don't take that as a slight. Don't take that as a slight. That means not that Silly's fallen off. That means that the competition is kind of caught up, right? Like you've got Liverpool who have reawoken. You got United that have kind of like fallen off, but they still spend big. They got Ineos. You got Chelsea who had their hiccups because they lost ownership, but look at what they were able to do, winning 2 trophies, winning the Club World Cup. Like, it's not so much of City of falling off if the competition. Now, the one thing I will say, everyone stepped their games up, but at the same time, there are some clubs that we should be performing better against. I'm not saying that everything needs to be a win, but performances is when you can be critical. Brighton performance, you can be critical. Spurs performance, the loss is kind of understood, but the performance is where you can be critical. That's why we need to get back to dominating on the pitch. I'm not writing off my manager. I know a lot of City fans are. I'm not. Let me keep in mind, because the dominating on the pitch, I think, also starts. Let me go back to your comment earlier. A lot want to question. A lot want to question this signing. Donnarumma is not good with his feet. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. Listen, I'm not surprised in the sense of the quality of keeper that he is. Okay, he's obviously one of the best keepers. We can't deny that. Let's not be silly. We can't deny that. Donnarumma is one of the best keepers out there. Is it style for style? Is it like for like with regards to Ederson? Absolutely not. Ederson was a unicorn. They broke the mold when they made Ederson. What? Most complete footballer playing that position? We'll never see another one like him. Never. Calm, cool, collected, tatted up, didn't care, spraying passes, assists. This man outdid many of your own midfielders with regards to assists last year. He was sick. We're never going to see another one like that. But Donnarumma, they told me, Paul, you probably remember this. Everybody in the chat remembers this. Remember the summer of 2023? They were telling me, or what was it, 2024? No, 2022. But they were telling me Erling Haaland, he's not a Pep player. Pep doesn't like his strikers. Pep doesn't like a 9 like that. He wants someone to connect play, his false 9. Like, look what he did elsewhere. He doesn't want that type of striker. They told me this. They told me Pep set in his ways. Look what he did to Zlatan, right? Look who he's gotten rid of. They were telling me all of this. Donnarumma does not work. Just like they told me Haaland would not work. Pep doesn't stand still. There's a revamp. There's something that he's working on. Or at the same time, and I'm not opposed to this. Many City fans are probably welcoming this. Maybe Pep is adapting to have Donnarumma, but he wants Donnarumma for the next manager. Maybe Pep's saying, you know what? I got this year, I got next year. Donnarumma, talking with the staff, great investment for the next manager. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. But I'm calm with the signing. I know that my manager is going to adapt to it. Honestly, you should have brought. Nah, man. I need someone that's going to defend free kicks and long shots. I'm sorry, AJ. I need someone that's that's going to be able to do that. I'm sorry. What's your update top three? Update top three. I got City, Liverpool, Arsenal. Relegation, most likely Wolves, Leeds. Who else got promoted? Wolves, Leeds. Ooh, Burnley, probably Burnley. Yeah, they like those yo-yo payments. Paul, 18 months ago, Foden was the best player in the Prem. Facts. Now he can't even make the England squad. He's hurt. What happened to him? He's hurt. It's not more than just injuries. He's hurt. That's why he didn't get the call up to the English squad. He's hurt. That's why he's not starting for City. He came on and played versus Spurs and got a bad challenge. I think it's messed up his feet a little bit, his ankles. He's all right. Paul, relax. Will he be back to player of the year? We might see that. This year, maybe not. A lot of new players, but when you got the synergy going, don't write off Phil Foden. Don't do that. Don't get me wrong. Pep at 2, Don Carlo at 3, Arsene Wenger at 4, Josie at 5. That's you're entitled to that. I wouldn't kill you on that. That's fair. That's fair. Pep really should have gone unbeaten 1 or 2 seasons. Hey, that's incredibly. Not only that, Klopp almost went undefeated as well. Klopp would have gone undefeated had it not been for. Hey, you never know, man. Vader, are you being disingenuous? How much did Man City spend in January? No, but this is my point, Paul. This is my point. Yeah, we spent in January, but we spent nothing the summer prior. And look at how disastrous our year was with regards to injuries. We needed to do an adjustment. And listen, Paul, don't take this as me being disingenuous. Everyone in the chat, don't take this as a slight. Sometimes I can be a little too. They say I'm subliminal dissing or whatever, passive aggressive or whatever. But I'm not doing that when I say this. Rivals don't understand this, and I think my club also didn't recognize this. The 6 and 7 year run, the amount of games played in that trouble season, like what you got to tap into, always be on, being relentless, and to go back to the well and get a 4-peat, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, and take that from a personal life when you're trying to pursue something, and it's like going beyond of what. Okay, you have the belief in yourself, but you're also going beyond what you've kind of done before, and then to have to go in and tap into that again. I think it hit the players. I think it hit the club. They did not recognize how depleted, how the injuries kind of crept up last year. And as a result of that, they spent in January because they didn't properly invest in the summer. 30 mil. We bought Savinho. We won a 4-peat and bought Savinho. and we let Julian Alvarez go. You know how good that guy is. Earlier this summer, our Liverpool fans were talking about how they want Julian Alvarez over there. AJ, Vader, with all due respect, you brought everything but a right back since January. Yeah, we need a lot to fix. We still need a lot to fix. Imagine I had gotten a right back and I was still short with regards to my midfield. I think the profile of player needs to be acquired. When I talk about the business that my club's doing, I like the center backs that we've also acquired, and we look a little center back thin. We've let Victor Reese go. We've let Jumaba go. All on loans, so I'm cool with this. All on loans. They're coming back, but I do like how you can see how we're planning for the partnership that will be with Ruben Diaz with the departure of a John Stones or a departure of an Ake moving forward. We got Kosanov as well. I think we're kind of okay there. We are. I'm saying I'm holding my hands up. AJ, you can't kill me with this one. I believe we need a right back. I do. Sometimes you got to make do. Would you not? I know you got Eze. I know you got him. But would you still not say that you should be in the market and getting a left wing? Would that not be something fair to say? It still happens as much as you spent. Look, you guys spent 267. Would you say that you answered your left wing needs? I don't think you would. Have you forgotten Holland for giving the penalty in an FA? Why'd you? I forgot about that. I really did. I really did forget about that. It's not happening again. That's never happening again. AJ wants to ask, can I be completely honest? Your ladies team is very good. You will win a league and Champions League in the next. Yeah. No, honestly, we will win the league. We've challenged very well. Like, I thought we had a chance to kind of mess things up for Chelsea, for the Chelsea women. We recently lost I'm forgetting her name, but we recently lost a female player to United, actually. I saw that on the timeline. But yeah, we're in the mix to win one of those two. I think we'll win one of each over the next, I'd say 5 years, not just 10. You'll be in the race, Vader. I am not writing you off. I appreciate that. Don't, I hear you. You're not writing us off. Rank these managers from best to worst. Best to worst. You know what? Big Ange is number one. Ange without Daniel Levy, that's something to think about. That is something to think about. Justice for Ten Hag. I'll say this. Man delivered 2 trophies. Mad disrespected by United fans. In that order, I'm going Big Ange, Ten Hag, Amrin. What is it? And listen, Paul, I don't know if you heard me say this, but not for United, but pray for the next manager that goes to United. Pray that they're happy with where their career has been, all the things that have happened in their football and life, because after United, it's going to stink. It's going downhill after that. Arsenal Invincible is the most overhyped team ever. Pep's 100-point season is superior. I ain't going to fight you on that one. Overhyped? Yeah, it's overhyped because of Arsenal fans, but the accomplishment is incredible. It's incredible. And this is something that I'm very curious and interested to see what happens to Liverpool and Liverpool fans when they are the hunted, right? Because on a pursuit to possibly, win back-to-back or win a domestic double or win a treble, pursuing those things, you get a lot of animosity, you get a lot of like best effort, you get a lot of that. And I can't, I mean, obviously I was around, I remember the season in particular, but social media wasn't around. I could only imagine what that pressure was like, what the tension was like to have to try and remain undefeated. And the reason why I agree that it's overhyped is because that invincible season had them fall out of the other competitions. Different league, different era, and all that stuff. But what Leverkusen did for the competitions that they were in and how much longer they went undefeated, I give it higher ratings, but it's a different league and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, overhyped, but to go undefeated, to get everyone's best effort, tough. Due to, is that how I should say it? Due to E. It's exhausting to win, granted, rather than losing. It's exhausting to win, granted, rather than okay. It's exhausting. Ex- you have less energy, loss after loss after loss. After a win, you get that energy spike, like it's infectious, it's addictive to want to continue winning. But what is exhausting is when you go from pursuing that winning way to then also sustaining that winning way. That's the exhausting part. When I talked about just the last comment with regards to the Invincibles, getting everyone's best effort as the not only last season's champs, but 4 seasons in a row champs, it's different. And I don't even think, as best as I could try to articulate that, I don't think it can be said. I don't think it can be said in the right way. AJ's talking to Paul out here. Kostanov is better option. You need really calm heads at right back. Obviously, you need calm heads at center back, but there's a time to go in for a tackle, time to not. You need to be dialed in. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You know what's happening behind you sometimes, because you have to turn and focus on the inside of the pitch. I like Kostanov's recovery speed. Nunez is no slouch either, but he just doesn't think defensively. That's the killer part. If I'm gonna have my, I got my EAFC hat on, I'd really like to see Kostanov and Diaz, that partnership, or Kostanov and Gavardiol. Kostanov and Gavardiol, I think that cooks. Gavardiol is clearly quicker than Ruben Diaz. On the ball distribution, I'll still give a slight advantage to Gavardiol. Kostanov can spray a pass as well, but both of them pace-wise, having my EAFC hat on, but yeah, I can deal with some running behind, some balls over the top. I think those guys can deal with that. Now, I put Ait Nori out there on my left back. If I'm going to have a vulnerability, and this is why I kind of understand the club saying we'll deal with a slight vulnerability at right back. Right now, I prefer Nunez over Rico Lewis because of a certain strength that happens in possession and over the ball. I think Rico can develop it. He doesn't have it right now, so that's why it's an issue. And let's go out, as much as everybody was triggered in the chat, let's go out and get a right back in January, right? Looks like Liverpool might go in the market and get a center back in Gay. Let's go out in the market and get a right back. Let's push on for the season. I think we can make that work. My club, despite, needs a look. See, AJ, you talking about the chat's talking about what I've been spending, and look, you spent 267 million, and you telling me my club, despite, needs a left wing, left back, okay, and a backup 9. So it happens. It happens. You don't get the complete squad sometimes. It works out. It happens out here. You just gotta adjust. You gotta make do for the time being until you get that quality. Best and Ten Hag. And then yeah, we're in agreement. We're in agreement. Let me see what you're saying here, AJ. But I'm also going to be completely honest. I would rather trade 2004 for for a Champions League win in a heartbeat, and that opinion has got me dead. Listen, that's gotten you death threats. Giving up an invincible at a heartbeat is wild, AJ. At a heartbeat is wild. You gotta at least ponder. You gotta be like, I don't know. You gotta do one of those. You gotta do one of those, to be honest with you. If you were to say, because I don't think you didn't double in that invincible year. So if you were to say you'd trade a season where you got won an FA and the league for a Champions League, I'd hear it. I think maybe you'd get less death threats. Is my thinking. I would fully agree. Bayern Leverkusen is more impressive unbeaten league win. Yeah, you can't hate on it. What chances do you give my Blue Jays? Woo! Listen, my brother is all hyped up. He's all his birthday was late August. He's all hyped up, going to games. You see him with new Blue Jay gear. I don't want to jinx this. First and foremost, I'm a Blue Jay fan now that I'm living in Toronto. I was born in Montreal, so by default, I'm an Expo. By default, I'm also Montreal Canadiens. I don't talk hockey, but with regards to the Blue Jays, yeah. With regards to the Blue Jays, I don't want to jinx anything, but World Series, got to make it happen. AJ's asking, Vader, your best man to answer this since you got close to the 5-peat. Yeah, 5-peat of league wins. Possible. Am I saying? Okay, your best man to answer this since you got close in the 5-peat of league wins. You know what? Let me say this. If this, like, look at this, okay? Take a second for me. Take a second and hear me out. Manchester City, and I'm not going to do the exercise now, but I will in the future. I'm going to do a proper, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be a proper expose. I'm going to expose it all. You know what I mean? Talking information. I'm going to say if City after winning the treble, got Doku, Kovacic, Nunez. I'm forgetting someone. Am I forgetting someone? I think those were our signings. We let Cole Palmer go. We let Ilkay Gundogan go. Yeah, I think that's who we let go. Oh, and I think we let Cancelo go officially, although he was already out of the squad, kind of. And did we let Laporte go? We might have. But my point is, if we had won the trouble like that, and then even closely invested again, like that, or like that, or even like United. Like if we had done something like that, you think of how we were able to do that 3-peat, 4-peat. I think if we invested, and again, this is all hindsight, but I think if we invested like that, bring in players that hadn't won and are going to be hungry to win it. Yeah, I think the 5-peat is doable. But it goes back to how I titled this show. It goes back to dominating off the pitch to also dominate on the pitch. I think a 5-peat's possible, but it is going to be incredibly laser focused to dominate like that. 100%. And I did a previous show. I think Liverpool's investment right here, their investment isn't for man. Their investment isn't for just winning back to back. That investment that you see there, that's with visions of a 3-peat. That's with visions to try and acquire a double or a treble. Like that's, I don't think it's far off. It's just going to require that type of relentless, unapologetic, don't care, I'm buying the league. And that's why when City were doing it, the narratives was different. You look at how Liverpool are doing it, everything's nice and calm. But I think it's doable, especially when you have, if the national media aren't bashing you along the way, yeah, you could do it. With no right back, I think Pep will soon switch to a back three. I don't think he'll switch to a back three. I think with no right back, we'll probably look to have that right back be more offensive, and then defend with a back three and be more sound with our center backs and our left back. But with Ait-Nouri, we're unbalanced right now. So maybe it's to look and get a better defensive right back to kind of compensate. I don't know. But we've had incomplete teams before with success, and I think we can do it. Lloyd in the building. Why do you choose City and not United? I didn't have a choice. Because if I had a choice, if you think City fans back in the day are picking City with a choice, they're not. Look at how dominant United were. Pep and Slot are 1 and 2. Who's the third best manager in the Prem? It's not Arteta. I happen to think Arteta is the third best manager. Before Arteta's recent run, I had Unai Emery up there, but he's kind of floundered a little bit. Maybe let's see a little more. Let's see what, let's see what Thomas Frank's able to do with a little more, right? Let's see what he's able to do a little more. You got people showing their flowers or giving flowers for Areola. But I think those are the three right now. We need to see others kind of step things up. Because for me, 2002 is more impressive, and 98, and finally 89, and we could still have 12 league titles. But that Champions League win, yeah, I'm with you. AJ, I'm with you. I understand that. For sure. Rank and order in their prime. Paul, man. I hate to say this. In their prime, injury-free. First of all, let me say this. In the future, Paul, don't include a City player because I'm going to be biased. I'm up off the top on my channel. I don't listen. We talk in the DMs, something like that. Maybe you'll get a more quote unquote honest answer. But I ain't trying to get clipped up. I don't want anything like that out there. So excluding company, I'll go I'll go Van Dyke. As much as this guy, I'm just going player. I'm just going on the pitch. I would actually go Van Dyke, Terry, and Rio. So take company out of there. Yeah, let me look to wrap up. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so. If you're new, subscribe. Great to see new names in the chat as well. Van Dyke, Rio, company, Terry. Okay, hey, not too mad at that. Rio and Terry, different levels of leadership as well. I'd already told you I'm taking company out of there because company is going to be my top guy, but I'm going to take him out. And to tell you the truth, company went from a midfielder to a defender. That's how complete he was in terms of a footballer. But the leadership is where I give a little bit more with regards to Terry over Rio. Oh, listen, Lloyd, this is funny. So my two younger brothers, one's a Philly fan, one's a Cowboys fan. When it comes down to Chiefs, I really got no beef. So Chiefs over Cowboys all day. And for the record, I'm a Steelers fan. So Paul, the Cowgirls will never win another Super Bowl. Go Packers. You know what? I gotta find this great clip. There's like this a couple or maybe a wife talking to her husband, and she's asking him about the weather the last 30 years or something like that. Like, has it ever snowed, or has it ever snowed and blah blah blah? Has it ever snowed in, let's say, San Diego for the last 30 years? And he's like, no. Bet your money on it. Never snows. And then she asked him the question, then why would you place a bet on the Cowboys? The look on his face, the disgust. I gotta find that clip. I gotta play it for you guys. But listen, talking NFL, season's kicking off. The delay, all that stuff, but season's kicking off. Do a little bit of chat. I'll find somewhere within the convo to kind of have it. Again, this show in particular, it's 115. One question, 15 minutes. Obviously, I don't need much to be able to talk for over an hour. But I enjoy the conversation. Everybody in the chat, people coming through. The reason why I know I'm already different than most is because I think macro, not micro. I know there's so much involved with winning. And I think the club has so many aspects of it that are being done right. But winning is sometimes it's like that special spark to kind of have things click off. Credit to Liverpool with what they were able to do last year with regards to winning the league. When we slipped up, when we were vulnerable, when we didn't look to be at it, they were ready to fly and took full advantage. They're not leaving anything to chance with that level of investment. That's what's required to dominate. We need to have that same aggressiveness, and I think we will get there. I spoke earlier on the show on some of the factors on why we haven't. I think we'll get back to it, but we need to dominate off the pitch. We'll get back to dominating on the pitch. This season's going to be a challenging one for most. I'm ready for it, and I'm talking out loud. Let me work on this. So I'm going to, if you hear me say I'm a 93-20, right? There are, let me hear me out. I'm just talking to my Manchester City fans out here. I understand that some of us are 93-20 fans. Okay? Some of us are 93-20 fans. Some of us aren't. To explain that, as I know, as difficult as things are, game week 3, right? 1 win, 2 losses. How they're talking about this upcoming season, some of us are walking out the stadium before 93-20. Some of us are saying this season's done. Some of us are saying our manager is done. He's been figured out. He's tired. He lacks ideas. I get it. Some of us are not 93-20 City fans. Some of us are. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm Vader Games. Thank you for tuning in. I see you all in the comments. Love in the interaction. I'm going to continue to do at least 3 shows a week. So please subscribe, see that notification. Enjoy this outro. It's some of the past thumbnails that I've done with regards to this show. It's about, I'll have it run for about 30 seconds. I sign off. I'm so appreciative. And again, good looking out to each and every one of you. I'm Vader Games. This was 115, one question, 15 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch me on the next show.